I'm Kyle Kuyat, co-founder and financial planner at Defining Wealth. Through education and experience, I've spent the last near decade of my life in the field of finance. From passing the rigorous certified financial planner exam, along with a few others, to working with clients every single day to help them manage their financial habits and their money. I've helped clients handle their finances, recognize bad money habits, and establish good ones. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you the 9 most common financial habits that I've seen and tips on how to break out of them. The first is not understanding your cash flow. Before we do any planning with clients, we need to make sure we understand their cash flow. Simply put, it's how much money comes in versus how much money goes out. Are you in the red or the green? To find out what's coming in is easy. It's anything that's bringing money into the door. But where bad habits come into play and where it gets complicated for folks is understanding the difference between their fixed and variable expenses. Your fixed expenses could be something like your mortgage or your rent, your car payment, or anything else that has a recurring fixed expense. Your variable expenses are going to be things like your food, entertainment, or other purchases that you're making that aren't always the same each month. If you're wondering how to get that data without spending a lot of time, energy, and effort, look at your statements from both your credit card and your bank. A lot of times you'll see these broken down by different categories. Before doing anything, it's critical to understand your cash flow so you know how much wiggle room you have or don't, and you can plan accordingly moving forward. The key to understanding your cash flow is if you know where you stand, it's easier to follow and stick to your plan. The second bad habit that I've seen is people that aren't paying themselves first. Once you understand your cash flow, you have a more clear picture of where you currently stand. Too often, those variable expenses we talked about are standing in the way of people paying themselves first. We often tell our clients to pay themselves like they would any other bill. Simply include yourself in your cash flow as a fixed expense that you're paying every single month. And I get it, it's easier said than done. Where I see this best being implemented is people that have this set up on an automated basis. You probably have a lot of your bills set up on auto pay. Paying yourself should be no different. For example, let's say you make $5,000 a month, and that's divided up in 2 separate paychecks of $2,500. If you wanted to pay yourself an extra 10% each paycheck, that would be additional $250 coming to you each 2 weeks, or $500 a month. Where I see this going wrong is most people not having that automation. The key to paying yourself first is to automate it and make it part of your plan. The third bad habit I often see is lifestyle inflation. Look, I get it. I'm like a lot of people. I like to have nice things, whether it's a nice car, nice clothes, nice house, you name it. Having nice things is not a bad financial habit in and of itself, as long as you know that you can afford it. But as we said before, being aware of your cash flow is critical. When people progress to a new job or a new promotion, this often results in higher income. Lifestyle inflation is whenever you spend at the same pace that you earn. And just because you're making more money doesn't mean that you have to spend more money. As you make more money, a lot of people want to improve their lifestyle. And while that's totally understandable, you want to make sure that you're always in control. No matter how much money you make, there's a difference between those that are constantly in debt versus those that are controlling their finances. Don't force yourself to live paycheck to paycheck if you can afford not to. The key to beating the habit of lifestyle inflation is to improve your finances before you improve your lifestyle. The fourth bad habit I see is people not having an emergency fund. Life, unfortunately, is unpredictable. Things happen, and you want to make sure you can get your hands on that money when you need it. The last thing I ever want to see anybody go through is the additional stress of finances on top of the reason why it is that you need that money in the first place. An emergency fund is a stockpile of money that you can get access to quickly. Typically, an emergency fund is kept somewhere liquid, like a money market, a savings account, or a checking account. Think of it as anywhere you can access the money easily in case you need it. How much money should you have in your emergency fund is a question I get all the time, and it depends on your situation. Typically, it's between 3 to 6 months of expenses. However, if you're a business owner or have a lot of variable expenses and debt, sometimes it's between 6 and even up to 12 months. Once you have your emergency fund built up, then you have the freedom to start to invest. The key to not having an emergency fund is understanding that an emergency fund does come first. The fifth bad habit I see is not understanding the correlation of your financial decisions and the impact that it can have on you and your finances. Doing one thing with your money often has a trickle effect in some capacity. For example, if you pull your money out too early from a 401k or a traditional IRA, you may be subject to taxes and penalties. Before you make any financial decision, you want to understand the impact that it has across the board. I have a video that dives into this in more detail if you do want to learn more. However, at high level, you want to make sure that you're taking into account the performance and potential return, the fees, the risk, and the taxes involved in any financial decision. The key is to make sure you consider all areas before making any financial decision and understanding the impacts of each. The next bad habit I see is being irresponsible with debt. Contrary to popular belief or what some believe, debt can be an extremely powerful tool. And a lot of times it's necessary for large purchases like a home, a car, or education. However, being irresponsible with debt and not understanding the effects of it can be detrimental to your finances. Debt is easier to access these days more than ever. Stores are even offering it for small purchases, let alone large ones. The power of compounding can either work for you or against you, and when it comes to debt, it's not in your favor. One of the things we tackle first with a lot of clients and in a lot of our discussions is credit card debt. The reason for that is credit cards typically have a higher interest rate than what's available to you in returns. For example, the average return of the S&P 500 is between 8 and 10%. While the average credit card interest rate is 22%. You don't want to be caught trying to play catch up when it comes to debt. Don't be fooled by the perks and rewards if you can't handle the responsibility that comes with a credit card. That's why it's important to pay off high interest debt as quick as possible. The key to not being irresponsible with debt is to make sure you understand its effects and what you're doing going forward. The next bad habit I see a lot is people not wanting to find help. When it comes to your finances, some people want to do it themselves, and that's totally okay. But for those that need help and want it, make sure that you go out and find it. When it comes to your financial livelihood, there's a lot more that's involved. It's not just about money. A good financial planner can help you get your financial life on track so that you don't have to try to figure all of this out by yourself. For example, when it comes to my car, I don't even change my own oil, let alone my tires, my brakes, or anything else that has to do with my vehicle. For me, it's making sure that I can get from point A to point B effectively, efficiently, and safely. And your finances and understanding them are no different. Whether it's talking to me or somebody at my firm or somebody else even out there in the financial planning world, you want to make sure that you can get help. The key is you don't have to try to figure it all out by yourself, and make sure that you find help that fits your needs best. The next bad habit I see are those that don't invest in themselves. Oftentimes, especially when you're younger, you are your own biggest financial asset. Not investing in yourself can be one of the most costly mistakes for your financial future. Improving your skills and attributes can have a significant impact on your future quality of life and your future income. The greater problems that you're able to solve through your skill set, the more money you should be able to make in the marketplace. If you were able to add to your skill set and experience, you may be able to get a higher paying position in your field. Now, I understand this may not relate to every single person, but for example, let's say you're making $50,000 a year. If you increase your skill sets and the problems that you're able to solve through those skills, you should be able to apply to a higher paying position that pays you more. For example, $100,000 a year. These numbers can vary. It's simply an example. But the key is the effects of investing of yourself can have a more significant impact than just trying to save off a much lower income. Investing in certifications or skills or something that's going to make you be able to achieve a higher income is going to have a larger impact than trying to save after expenses on a much lower salary. To take it one step further, I've seen clients go from just starting out to increasing their skills and experience to even starting their own business. Once you have more skills and experience, starting a business can be a risk, but the transition from employee to business owner can often lead to a higher potential return for your financial well-being. The key is investing in yourself combined with investing in other assets can help you build wealth. It's not just how much you can save, it's also how much you can earn. And rounding home with our last bad financial habit is trying to time the market. I say this to clients all the time. The next best thing is not always going to be the best thing for you. And more often than not, the next best thing is not the best long-term plan. Trying to time the market or investing in what's hot today can be a big mistake. Options, crypto, and other leveraged assets that you hear people throwing out online can have their place in somebody's allocation potentially. But where I see people getting hurt the most is putting all their eggs in one basket in one of these and being let down dramatically. If your plan is to hope that all the money you put in there takes off, just understand that all of it can come crashing down just as quickly. Make sure you're not overinvested in something that's too risky for you. The key is don't take too much risk unless you're prepared to lose just as much as you win. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this video has helped you today. If you have any questions, be sure to let us know. We're always happy to chat. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you go ahead and click like. If you want to see more content, make sure you go ahead and click subscribe. Again, I'm Kyle Kuyat, and I'll see you guys next time.